Hey, everybody. Hi, Patty.
Hey,
Well, that was a surprise. So good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Had a crazy day, but I'm super excited to be on with you guys. Been up
Hey,
to
that's
anything?
okay. I think crazy days are just the kind of the way it is right now. So
I know
that's
it.
all
I
good.
know it. It seems like Wednesday, that midweek is just like, oh gosh. So
Yes, 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 yes.
I was telling Kristen, our heat pump and plumbing both had to be worked on today.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always
We
fun.
our ice maker's been broken for 2 or 3 days, so we had the guy come work on that today. And I just realized it's still not making very much ice, so he may have to come back tomorrow. We'll
Oh my
see.
goodness. Oh my goodness. I just
Such
remember
is life.
before Oh, I know it, and I just remember before Mary Kay being so worried about those things, but I'm just glad it's like, okay, well, it costs this much. I just need to do this many more parties and we'll be good.
Right, right, yeah, and my husband was like, "You can be home today to let him in, right?" I was like, "Yes, I can arrange my schedule so that I can be here," and yeah, that flexibility is very, very important at this stage in my life, so
Yeah, it is really nice. I remember life before it, but it wasn't super, super fun, and I'm glad I don't have to
yes,
worry about it ever again.
absolutely, absolutely, yes. How's Preston doing?
He's good. We had a court date for him today, and so it's just a routine one. So I was with him, so that was another thing I was glad for was that I didn't have to, rearrange work or anything. I
Yes.
could just go be with him, and so they don't allow phones in the courtroom. So right
Nope.
before I went, I was like, Dylan, this is what all's happening. This is what needs to be done.
Yep.
So I gotta go. So,
Excuse
but
me.
we're good about picking up where the other one's having a crazy time. But
Yeah, yeah.
we're just both grateful to work a fairly flexible schedule. So,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely. And
yeah,
you get to be a football mom now, I
yes,
hear. So
that
that's
I
so
love
cool.
it. I was
Yeah,
like, I love football, and Dylan loved band, so he's not really into sports. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of flip flop. So I
yeah.
was not good at sports, but I really enjoy watching them.
Same
I love,
here.
I watch other people. Don't expect me to be able to be good at it.
Right.
I definitely watch others. So, but it's been fun. I'm excited that it's a good lengthy time of something fun to do every
Yeah.
once a week. So
Yes, yes, yes.
I love it.
I'm so excited to start September and hear your training tonight and so
Yeah.
many exciting things going on this month. So it's going to
Well,
be good.
I can't wait. I'm ready for fall and everything
Yes,
too. But thank you so much for hanging out with me for a minute. And I guess
yes,
we will go ahead and
absolutely.
get started. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite topics in Mary Kay, and I really feel like it's something that um, I've I feel like I've mastered. Maybe not completely because there's always room for improvement, but something that I feel like I remember to do all the time. Hey, everybody, I see little comments on the screen. That's super cool. So I'm hoping this will be helpful to you guys too. But this session I'm going to title The Fortune is in the Follow Up. The fortune is in the follow up. So, we all put so much time and energy and effort in everything we do, so much prep. And, sometimes if you're like me, you may get a text message or a phone call. And sometimes when I'm wearing my Apple Watch, I'll see it, or, if I'm not really paying attention, I don't even feel that it vibrates or whatever. And it's like that call goes missed all day, and then it's the next day or 2 days before I even see it. So, one thing that has really helped in my mental state in Mary Kay is to realize it's not always that people don't care or they don't want to talk to us. They just may have forgotten or something came up. Especially with the schools right now, kids are being pulled out left and right. So parents are at work getting kids tested. It's a lot. It's a little crazy, but that's okay because I want to teach you guys how to follow up in several different categories so that it will be more profit for you and your family and better sales and better recruiting and all around. So one thing that with my personality, probably not everybody struggles with this, but I was always afraid if I kept reaching out to somebody, if I kept messaging them, that I was bothering them. I was like the one hit wonder. If they didn't respond to me the first time, oh well. But that's not exactly how this business works. You have to be willing to reach out several times. So I'm going to break it down in a couple different categories. So the first one is how to get your fortune in the follow-up with your customers, okay? So a lot of these principles are things that you've probably already been taught. And if something's unfamiliar, I'm not going to go into every exact tactic, but it's just when to implement these things that's going to help you. And if you're not sure about something, if I don't explain it well enough, definitely ask your director. It may be something that if you're brand new that you've just not even gotten to go over yet, and make sure that she kind of catches you up with that. So for your customers, one of the best ways of follow-up is, of course, the 2-2-2 system. So after you facial somebody, you want to check in with them 2 days later, 2 weeks later, and then 2 months later. 2 days later to make sure that it's still working on their skin and that they're satisfied. 2 weeks because, hopefully by then, I'm sure they're going to be seeing some results. And then 2 months later, they may be running low on some things, or they've really loved the skincare, they really love the mascara that you got, they got from you or whatever, and they need to try something else. You guys may have run into before that sometimes people want to try one thing, or they want to try, just a couple little things here or there. And they say, I'm willing, if I really like this product, I'm willing to try some other products. So that's a really good thing with the 2-2-2. It is a follow-up. And there are so many ways to, like, on your phone, set that up, reminders, put it in your calendar. There's so many ways, whatever makes sense in your brain, but it's super important to remember. Follow up after your PCP goes out. So your preferred customer program, if you don't know what that is, basically every quarter you have the capability of making sure all your customers and even the consultants on your team are able to get the seasonal catalog. So if you're in, little plug, if you're in PCP, if you participate in that, you often get to order early. So there's several perks to it. If you're not sure about that, ask your director. But make sure you don't just let the catalogs be sent out. You should get a notification once Mary Kay sends your catalogs out. And there's a really awesome script you can ask your director for, where you will be able to follow up and ask, your customers, was there anything that caught their eye? Because a lot of times, if they've not had a facial in a long time, they don't know about the new products unless they get a catalog or you've told them about it or they're in your group or something like that. So make sure that you always, a couple days after they've received that catalog, you're following up with them. We always think they'll get back with me. I want you to eliminate that thought, because you think people will get back with you. But if you're anything like me, if I run out of an item, I'm going to say, oh man, I may have loved the brand that I got, but I'm going to find the closest store with the, cheapest thing that I know works best for me and go there. My first thought is probably not going to be to notify my consultant. So it's our job to reach out to them, not for them to just hit us up whenever they need something else. So after every facial, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to wish you just want to go home and go to bed. But I promise it's worth it to do it right afterwards. That way it's done and you don't forget about it. Write thank you notes to all of your people that came to the facial. That's going to show excellent customer service. You're going to stand out. It's not just I wrote you a sales receipt, stuffed your stuff in a bag, sent you out the door. You're going to stand out because they feel appreciated, okay? So then you're going to also add them to your My Customers app so that their address, their email, everything will already be in there for them when you go, if you do participate in our rewards postcards or send them product of the month cards. You won't have to go find their paper. It's just all easier for you. You're plugging in their birthday, all these other things so that you have reasons to reach out to them. Okay, so in the notes section of my customers, you're actually also able to, put something down about them that you want to remember. So if you want all your rewards people together, whatever, I won't get into all that. But you can go ahead, if they spent $300, $400 on a roll-up bag, you can go ahead and put their points in. So it's all done right then. And then when you go to do that follow-up, when you go to send those cards, it's already all there. Okay, so let's say you may have run into this. I have run into this before. Some people want to be contacted the next day or later on about a product that they really liked, but they just didn't get it, or maybe they were really thinking about a roll-up bag. You're going to think they're going to reach out to me, but I wait till about the next morning or so, before noon definitely, but to reach out to them and kind of see what they were thinking regarding that. 24 hours or less. With any follow-up, the longer time you let pass by, the less likely they're going to say yes to whatever you're asking them. Okay, so after a virtual appointment, whether it's just a one-on-one virtual facial or one of our, area-wide calls or any type of appointment, especially with virtual, I have found you always want to call or message them right afterwards. Even if they're not tagging or commenting like they're supposed to, they're not participating in the game, they may have been rocking the baby. They may have been doing something that they couldn't, but they're still interested. So again, it is your job to reach out to them. All right, now we're going to go over to recruits. Follow up with your recruits. Okay, so you have recruited somebody. The first thing you're going to do is within 2 days of them joining, you want to send a welcome letter. So we have templates for these welcome letters. And if you don't have one that you've written up for your team, you can definitely ask your director. Now you might be like, well, I'm just brand new and, I have, maybe one consultant, I'm a senior consultant, or I'm a red jacket. If you get in the habit of doing this now, it will not seem super overwhelming if you do it later. If you don't do it at all and you're like a director or you're, a DIQ or you've been in Mary Kay a while, it's still important that you do these things. But if you start out from the beginning, it's going to be a lot easier than coming back later. So you're going to send the welcome letter within 2 days of them joining. This is going to explain the great start period and kind of plant that seed of the power of inventory. So it's not going to be like, oh, what? When they come to their orientation. They may get it before, they may get it after the orientation based on how quickly you're able to meet up with them. But it's either going to reiterate what you said or kind of plant that seed before you actually meet with them, okay? So another thing with the follow-up, sometimes I know when I first joined, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got a recruit. And then I kind of, forgot to do anything with them. And they're kind of like, what do I do now? So definitely, I know this may be elementary, but please try to schedule that orientation within 48 hours. Again, they're going to have time. The longer that time passes by, they're going to have time to be like, what in the world did I just do? Why did I think that I should do that? They're going to have all these things, probably some very unhelpful family members and friends make comments. So the sooner that you can meet with her, get her started, get her inventory in and her party scheduled, the quicker that she will just realize that this was a great idea and she's already killing it. She's sold all this stuff and she's excited. All right. Okay. So one thing that a lot of recruiters especially may not think about, but let's say your new girl gets a vendor event, or she even does a vendor event with you, whether it's a fall festival or a bridal show, whatever the case may be. You don't want to just assume she knows what she's doing. You also don't want to just send her scripts and say, good luck booking, okay? So after that event, your follow-up for her is you're either going to sit down at a coffee shop or at your house or your studio or wherever and book those leads with her, because she's going to run into objections. She's going to run into weird people saying weird things like we all do Okay. And you want to make sure that you're there to help kind of field those. Now, it may not be possible for you all to be together, but I always tell my girls, this is something Kristen did for me. You know, if I'm not able to be there and book with them, I say, if you get a weird like response or it's kind of somewhere out of left field or you don't really know what to say, screenshot the conversation, send it to me, and I'll do my best to help you. So if those of you who are brand new as well, if you've got a new recruit coming in and you're not sure what to say, you can always reach out to your director. And on the Vision app, there are a whole slew of overcoming objection sheets and what to do and what to say when booking, when recruiting, anything. So those are also good to go ahead and send her, have on hand, but also be available to follow up and help her with those. You know, nothing's more frustrating than a brand new person doing an event that we're super excited about and getting absolutely no bookings from it. There should be no reason for that. There's going to be at least a couple at every event. You know, if it's a good event, if it's like, you know, several leads and everything, there should be no reason she shouldn't book some parties from that. So it's better that you help her other than her being disappointed that things didn't happen. So, okay, let's see here. Now, some follow-up as far as leads go. So for you as a consultant, if you do a lead event, you need to follow up with those people 2 to 3 times. 2 to 3 times. Now, you might think that's excessive, but it's really not, okay? It's really, really not excessive. So I actually have my sheet here. At any event that I go to, I have a certain lead amount I like to get per week. And let me find one here that I want to show you guys. Okay, so I'm going to write down all of my leads and their phone number, a little note about them. And then it's got a place where I'm still in the process of messaging these folks. But the check marks, well, it's over here, for how many times that I've reached out to them. And that way, if I'm frustrated, like, oh my gosh, nobody in this event is reaching back out to me, how many times did I reach out? Every time you reach out, people are more likely to actually book with you. Most people, at least in my experience, and I've heard this in others as well, will not book on the first attempt. You do have to, do that first attempt. 2 to 3 days later, try again. 2 to 3 days later. So all of your referrals, all of your leads that you get, whether it's Working Women's, whether it's a event or bridal show of any kind, they should have gotten 3 reach outs from you within a week's time period, at least 3. Okay. I know that sometimes if I really liked the person and there's just a lot going on in their life, I may have done it more times. I recently had a facial with a lady who I'm pretty sure we rescheduled her party 5 times. But that's okay because I knew she wanted to do it. I knew her life was just crazy, and I've been there, and I was willing to work with her. So we've all been there, so be willing to work with people. Okay, so for leads, that's all for that one. And potential recruits. So obviously, leads come first. You have to do your due diligence with your leads. You facial these people, okay? So they're your customer. Maybe they've not joined yet, but you've got to do your due diligence with them as your customer. I will tell you guys, as I'm kind of going to get into potential recruits, there's a girl I just recruited this week who, when I met her, I knew that she was going to be on my team. I just knew it. But, things were going on. She was getting married, life. And some of us just need some time to think. We're not quick to change. I was the same way. I have been layering her for about 5 months. 5 months. But I was doing all this customer follow-up. So she has got to watch what it looks like to do good follow-up. So when I ask her as a consultant, you really need to follow up with your customers this way. You need to make sure you're reaching out. She's used to that because I have done it with her. It's just normal. Okay. So leading into that, when I do career chats, I always like to have people fill out a Google form. You can make one for yourself. Your director may have one that you can fill out and she can send you the answers. But it just kind of is a way that if they're, still iffy, thinking about it, you have their information, because remember, a woman's life changes every 4 months. Every 4 months, she's either going to college, starting back to school, having a baby, getting married, having a death, getting divorced. Like, something is happening. So right now might not work, but due to whatever life thing or crisis, she may need Mary Kay 4 months from now. So I keep all of my people in that binder, and then every once in a while, I'll invite them to a virtual career chat. The ones that Kristen does, the More Than a Pink Cadillac, I have had 2 women in the last week recruit from that. Several of my recruits during COVID came from that. So some people like the inspirational story. I had a girl who is one of my consultants now, who she actually was a customer for the longest time. And because that's what she liked, I knew she would end up recruiting eventually, but that was kind of what she liked. She liked to see how the products worked for different things. And so every, makeup event or skincare event or mom, daughter, whatever, I invited her to that. So she got really familiar with the products. So I just invite them to anything and everything, and I don't feel bad about it because they're not going to be able to come to all of them, but they're already immersed in our culture. They're already immersed in that pink bubble, and they want to be part of that more permanently. So you're going to attract people sometimes from the products, from the friendships. So that's another reason why I do that. Okay. So after the virtual career chat, so the More Than a Pink Cadillac, if she doesn't recruit on the spot, I do try to talk to her right afterwards, even if it's later, because she's still awake. We just ended the call. So depending on what, I feel is appropriate, I really like to leave a voice message. I have no idea, I'll just tell you, how Android phones work. But at least for iPhone, you can leave voice messages, or even on Facebook Messenger, you can leave voice messages. And I want her to hear the excitement in my voice. And I tell her why I think she would be good, why I could see her bringing worth into my organization, and how I think we would work well together. I want her to be my friend. I want her to be around me and my family. And I feel like I have a lot to offer her as well. I had a girl on a career chat, I guess it was last night, who I really believe had no intention of joining, but because I saw her as a friend, this is pretty much what she told me, she wanted to be part of it. She wanted to be part of that sisterhood. So it says a lot more if it's over a phone call, a voice message, rather than a text message. Text message, you can copy and paste and everybody knows it, but you can't always fake enthusiasm. All right. So immediately afterward, if I don't feel like it's appropriate or whatever reason, I definitely reach out the next morning, depending on how the conversation ended the night before. And again, with all of these things, y'all, the longer you wait, the less likely they are to say yes to what you're asking them. So again, that's for potential recruits. I hope that helps you guys. Remember, the fortune truly is in the follow-up. Never get it in your head. To recap, you are not bothering people. Think about what a gift that Mary Kay has been to you and your family. And I would encourage you, before you go to sleep tonight, to just maybe write down 5 things that Mary Kay has given you and your family, whether it's financially, pouring into you spiritually, whatever, the better friends. I could say that Mary Kay's done all those things for me. And one thing, I'm very shy naturally. You wouldn't believe it because here I am talking. But I'm very shy naturally. And one thing that I would tell my husband was, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to keep saying stuff to them and them get sick of me. And sometimes it's a little easier to talk to people you don't know than people you know. But think about what a gift it is. That's one thing he told me. Think about, you are giving them hope. You are giving them potential income. Whenever I worked as a teacher, I worked at 2 different schools, gave voice and piano lessons, and I worked at a bookstore. I had 4 jobs. And during COVID, I would have had none of them. They were all closed, nothing. I would have went from 4 jobs to 0 if I hadn't been doing Mary Kay. And think about what a gift that could be. There's so many people who only had 1 job and their family lost, both incomes or one income that they were used to having. So when you think about it as you're giving people a gift, it's a lot easier to be willing to reach out one more time. And I could probably say that for nearly everybody in my unit, was just having the courage to reach out one more time. So I hope that helps you guys. One thing that I have implemented is making a weekly and then a monthly checklist to make sure that all these things, I have done them. Maybe you need to make a list. After every facial, I do this. After every career chat, I do this. Whatever works best for your brain, if you're a list person or whatever the case may be, that way every single time you've left no stone unturned. So I hope this helps you guys. Hope everybody has a great night, and thank you so much for watching.